is I wanted to break down for this upcoming season the 5 teams that are in the most pivotal of seasons. So, how would I characterize the pivotal aspect? Well, it's a mixture of a couple of different things. Primarily, the basis around this is what teams in the NBA are going to need to make extensive changes potentially if the season doesn't go as planned, right? So essentially, the qualifications for this is that you have to have a veteran team, right? A large investment in a certain team in which there's maybe things haven't gone as planned in the years past, and if things don't go well this year, then a massive, large-scale rebuild or fix could be in the future. And so that's how I came up with this list. We're not going to see a lot of young teams. Ultimately, what are they going to do? Just get younger, right? This is teams that have stars in place, veterans in place that need to make moves if this year doesn't go as planned. So I'm going to give you guys my top 5 of those pivotal teams. There are 3 teams that just missed the cut. And I'll be honest with you guys, these 3 teams, along with number 5 for me, are almost interchangeable for different reasons. But the 3 teams that didn't make it are the Phoenix Suns, the Atlanta Hawks, the Miami Heat. I say Phoenix Suns because this year will only be year 2 of these guys together. And, there could be a trade or two, but, keeping Booker and KD could make a lot of sense there. So I don't really think that that's going to happen per se. Who knows what KD wants out or not. But, then the Atlanta Hawks, they would probably be number 1 or 2 on this list if they didn't already pull off the DeJounte Murray trade. Because that trade's already gone to play, now you got to give them a little bit of breathing room because, give them time to figure out this new core group, They've got new pieces there. They're going to try to figure out who fits well together and build out this new roster here with the Atlanta Hawks. And so they just barely missed the cut for that reason. Number 3, the Miami Heat that I have just sitting outside of the group. The Miami Heat's reason for not being in there is that although this pretty much is an emphasis around Jimmy Butler, I think that they have the guy in which they should build the team around already there, and that's Bam Adebayo. I said this a couple weeks ago when I discussed him. Bam is somebody that I've always respected, but that watching the Olympics, my appreciation for him grew tremendously. So what I look at for Bam is a situation where, is this a situation where we continue to move forward with 2 guys at the helm, a dynamic duo between Butler and Bam? Or if this year doesn't go as planned, do you just ship out Jimmy Butler and do you build around Bam? And so that's not really that crazy of a large-scale blow-up because you're not going to blow it up from scratch. You're not just going to go reset the entire roster and move on from the team. Bam will be a part of the future regardless heading next year, and that's a superstar player. So that's the reason they didn't make the list. That being said, let's get into my top 5 most teams that are in the most pivotal years in the 2024-2025 NBA season. Let's start off at number 5, the Golden State Warriors. I have them at number 5 because this is a team that's already made some change in Klay Thompson, yes. However, this is a team that is still, in essence, built to win now. You have Steph Curry, who I talked about on Monday's show. I am fully confident after that Olympic performance. He is still at a high enough level to contend. Draymond Green, while a lot of people hate him, I don't go into hating. I don't hate people. I hate one thing that's sin. I don't hate people. All right. And so I honestly, I respect Draymond Green, and I think it might be most in the world almost because a lot of people seem to hate him. I love Draymond Green. I don't think people recognize the value he brings to a team. Yeah, he does things a little bit dirty sometimes. So did many other all-time great players. What he's done for this team and the Golden State Warriors is tremendous, and I think he's still extremely valuable. All right. You have Andrew Wiggins there, who had a down year last year, but obviously that leads why it's a pivotal season. And then you have a lot of young guys, and you have a young core in Brandon and in Kuminga that's is kind of growing a little bit. However, if this season doesn't go as planned, or maybe even goes for the worse, and they're picking in the lottery next season, could we see Steph Curry end up on another team? Is Draymond Green time over? Could we see the Andrew Wiggins trade get done? Could this be an entirely new rebuild around Brandon Podziemski and Jonathan Kuminga and company? There's so many moves that could happen right now. I don't know what's going to happen, but I put them at number 5 for that reason. Number 4. This team right here, I had a whole segment on them a little bit ago as well. And this is just wild that they're even here. I didn't want to rank them because they should have blown this team up already. So I don't even know where to put them at because it's like we already know the conclusion. They're halfway done with their blow-up process. I don't know, but that's the Chicago Bulls. Y'all can check out the segment I had just a couple of weeks ago on them. I don't know what to say about them. This team is not even built to contend. I don't think this is a playoff team right now, and yet they still have guys that are veteran, quote-unquote, stars in Zach LaVine, Nikola Vucevic. And so the Bulls, I just threw them there because this was I mean, the pivotal season, sure. If they're really going to run it with Lonzo Ball, Zach LaVine, and Vucevic, then go ahead. I think we already know the answer of how it's going to turn out. This team should have been shipped out and traded, but if we're going to run it back with them and they think this team can be good, then I guess you could say it's a pivotal season for them. Number 3, the Milwaukee Bucks. Coaching changes has happened. 3 coaches in a 1-year time span. You have Doc Rivers there now, and he has the whole offseason. If this year doesn't go as planned, what happens with Giannis? This team's had a lot of changes already occur now, but what happens with the Milwaukee Bucks if they don't have a good season this upcoming year? If Doc Rivers can't get the guys to go together, if this team doesn't all fit together, if Dame has a rough year, if they can't make some legitimate noise in the postseason, if there's injuries all over again, could we see this Milwaukee Bucks team, in essence, become a team that we see Giannis and Antetokounmpo 1 year from now on the trade block being moved and he wants out? That would be one of the biggest trades we've ever had in NBA history if that occurs. But that's why I think it's a pivotal season, because they need a win. There's too much invested in this team, and they're getting older. If things don't go as planned, a massive large-scale blow-up could be on the verge. Number 2, the Los Angeles Lakers. They moved up on this list because of what I said Monday. After watching LeBron James and Anthony Davis play in the Olympics, there is no reason this team is not contending for a championship. They need the right pieces around them. And if that cannot occur, then major changes need to occur. I like JJ Redick as coach. I think he'll be fine. But is the roster okay? And if the roster's not okay, then what happens? Does LeBron want out? Does Anthony Davis eventually get asked for a trade? Or what happens there? I don't know what could occur. But that's why it is a pivotal season, because if they go out there and we just saw what LeBron and AD is capable of, and they have another down year as a team and things aren't going well, maybe they even miss the playoffs again. What then? Another coaching change, another situation. This is a very pivotal season because Anthony Davis is still in his prime. He could still want to go out and go try winning somewhere. So that's why I have them at number 2. And at number 1, I have the LA Clippers. Steve Ballmer will always be willing to make moves, so I don't see a full rebuild occurring here. However, Paul George is gone. Kawhi Leonard's still there. Kawhi wasn't even healthy enough to play in the Olympics. Something is not right, and I think we all know that anyways. So what I asked then is, okay, if this team is not going to go as planned, Paul George is out, and we never really got to even see Paul George and Kawhi play healthy for an entire season until this past year. And then, of course, the postseason turns horribly and we see the injuries occur. You have Kawhi Leonard. You have a lot of veterans on this roster. If what occurs this upcoming season is not pretty in the brand new stadium, then there could be a lot of issues that end up occurring, and the Clippers will need to make big moves to possibly reset this roster and rebuild or retool or some form of sense. This is a must-win season overall. Otherwise, big questions can be raised, and we'll have to figure out what do the Clippers do next moving forward. So that's my top 5 most teams that are in the most pivotal seasons heading into the 2024-2025 NBA season. To rephrase them, at number 5, the Golden State Warriors. At number 4, the Chicago Bulls. At number 3, the Milwaukee Bucks. At number 2, the LA Lakers. At number 1, the LA Clippers. This will be a big-time season. All 5 teams will have the spotlight on them, and there will be expectations for each and every single one of them this season. So that will be something to definitely keep an eye on, because if those seasons don't go well, there could be a lot of big-time players on the move within the next 365 days.